Hey guys, this is Hey Brittany and welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about Sydney Sweeney and the American Eagle campaign, so let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so I saw people talking about this online and a lot of people were upset. They felt like this ad was really centered on eugenics and basically population control and all of that stuff. I actually had not seen this campaign aired anywhere. I saw on Twitter first and then I went to YouTube to watch some of the ads with Sydney Sweeney to kind of just see what the big deal was, what's going on, what she said and all of that stuff. Specifically, the one that is causing a lot of controversy is the one where she is doing the play on the word genes and talking about genes as in DNA. I did see one comment where it was talking about how this ad that she did was kind of inspired by Brooke Shields' Calvin Klein campaign. So I did watch that as well just to see what happened with that ad, and that will help me shape this conversation. So I do want to give a disclaimer that I am not influenced by American Eagle to buy these jeans, not buy them solely based on the campaign that they have with Sydney Sweeney. I have not purchased jeans in like 2 years or something like that, and I rarely wear them, so there really is no motivation for me to buy jeans unless I see a new style or I see something that I want or something that I'm used to have and I want to replace. So there's no motivation for me to buy jeans at this point. So really, this is just a examination of the message that this ad is sending, since it doesn't have the power to influence me to buy the jeans. Okay, so let's talk about Brooke Shields' ad. So I went ahead and watched that, and I also typed out what she said in the ad so that we can actually do a fair comparison. Let's read out what she said in that ad. The secret of life lies hidden in the genetic code. Genes are fundamental in determining the characteristics of an individual and passing on these characteristics to succeeding generations. Occasionally, certain conditions produce a structural change in the gene which will bring about the process of evolution. This may occur in one or more of the following ways. Firstly, by selective mating, in which a single gene type proves superior in transmitting its genes to future generations. Secondly, by gene drift, in which certain genes may fade away while other genes persist. And finally, by natural selection, which filters out those genes better equipped than others to endure the environment. This may result in the origin of an entirely new species, which brings us to Calvin and the survival of the fittest. Alrighty, so that was a mouthful. She said quite a lot in that ad. This was like a minute long ad, a minute 20 long ad. So not a whole lot of time, but she definitely said a lot in that 1 minute. What I want to point out is that I feel like this ad, if this were aired today, would be more inappropriate considering our political climate, because she's really talking about Darwinism, and this seems way more coded than anything that Sydney Sweeney said in the ad that we're about to review together. One, with Brooke Shields, it basically sounds like she's talking about a clump of cells versus human beings. She's talking about passing on characteristics to succeeding generations. How would we define succeeding generation? Structural changes and bringing about evolution. Obviously, we know that's common sense. You need to evolve, you need to adapt and all that stuff. That makes sense. Selective mating is problematic because you can think of this as a conversation around race mixing or interracial marriages. A lot of people do not like this. And then obviously, if you are getting involved with someone, you should ideally want the best partner that you have. What traits are you looking for when you decide to mate with someone and create children and raise a family together? Then she's talking about gene drift, which is some genes just fading away or dying out. And obviously this is a play on words because she's really talking about the dye fading. So what she's trying to say here is that Calvin Klein jeans are good because the dye does not fade. And then also she's talking about natural selection. So filters out genes better able to endure the environment. So basically you want durable genes. That makes sense. So everything that she says makes sense because it's a play on words in relation to genes, but it's also very coded and talking about survival of the fittest, only the strong survive, and then obviously making sure that certain genes are passed on and continued on during the family line. So this is way more coded, and I think this is a more valid argument for eugenics if this is what Sydney Sweeney said. However, this is not what she said. Let's talk about Sydney Sweeney's ads for American Eagle. So she had one ad about not influencing you while influencing you via the commercial that she's doing. One ad where she's putting on pants and she's talking about jeans, the play on jeans. She's fixing a car in one ad. She's twirling in a circle in one ad. And then she has a casting tape as the last ad that I saw. What I do want to point out about these ads is I did like the old school vibe, the vintage vibe, because the car was old. I'm not sure what kind of car it was, if it was a Mustang, but I would assume that it's an American-made car. And just old school vibes, vintage, grainy camera feel to it. And one thing that bugged me was that it did give me Severance vibes, and I hated Severance because it just felt depressing. The innies were trapped on that floor. There was just that one cubicle of 4 desks. There was nobody else there. It was depressing. The innies had no idea what their outies were doing, and so I just didn't like that connection. But what I will say is that the casting tape was my favorite because I like the irony of her doing a casting tape to get the job that she obviously has because she's in the commercial for American Eagle. So I just really like that part of the commercial the best. Okay, so now let's talk about the controversial ad. So this is an ad where she is laying on a couch, a chaise, whatever, and she is putting on the jeans. The jeans are already on, but she's kind of just like they're over her waist and she's starting to buckle them up. So we don't actually see her physically put on the jeans. We just see her kind of fastening the buttons, if that makes sense. And so this is where she goes into her script for this ad. And she says, genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, even eye color. My genes are blue. So what I really like about everything that she said is it's short and it's to the point. It's also very different than anything that Brooke Shields said in her Calvin Klein commercial. So let's talk about it. Genes are passed down from parent to offspring. This is humanizing the consumer that they are speaking to. They are trying to get people to buy American Eagle jeans. Obviously, you need to humanize the consumer. You can't talk down to them. You can't make them feel stupid. You can't do all of that crazy stuff. Otherwise, you are going to push away your audience and make them not want to buy your product. However, I have no issue with what she said here. Genes are passed down from parent to offspring because parents, if you are having consensual sex, you are choosing the person that you are having sex with, and you are also choosing whether or not you want to raise a kid with that person. And then if you do, you are raising a family, and you are ideally raising those children to become secure, healthy adults, right? So this is very different from survival of the fittest. This is not just a clump of cells competing to see who wins. This is parents choosing to have kids, raise the kids in their family structure. So for me, what's key here is parents and offspring. Parents are people who choose to have kids and want to raise their kid. So if you are choosing to have kids with someone, you are either having kids with that person because you like the way they look, you like their behavior, their mannerisms, their personality, whatever. These are all things that you like in a person and ideally would want to see in your child. I'm not seeing any eugenics in this at all here. What I'm seeing is people choosing to have partners, choosing to be intimate with those partners, and then choosing to raise a kid or not raise a kid, whatever. Ideally, you should be raising your kid, right? But the only thing that would be the eugenics of it all here is either if you hate yourself, don't like the way you look, and you're choosing a partner based on those feelings, or if you're choosing not to have kids, because obviously if you don't have kids, there's nothing for you to pass on. So I think that people are kind of really taking away the control that people have here when you choose to be intimate, when you choose to have a kid, and then when you choose to parent that kid. You are making conscious decisions in all three of those steps, from being intimate with somebody, having the kid, and then raising the kid, right? We should all be able to agree on that point. So if we take what she said literally, genes are passed down from parent to offspring. My genes are blue. What she's saying is that what she wants to pass down is her love for genes. Her American Eagle genes are important to her. So, right? So if we put that in a different way, what she's saying is what you look like doesn't matter. Your DNA doesn't matter. What matters is that we all love American Eagle jeans and you should want to buy this product, right? That's the message that she's saying here. So the purpose is to basically unite everyone around wanting American Eagle jeans. Now, I understand the contradiction with having a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, white girl say, hey, your DNA doesn't matter, while obviously she might be benefiting off of how she looks, right? So I understand people not liking that contradiction there, but I also think the biggest message that they are sending is that how you look doesn't matter, your DNA doesn't matter. What matters is that you love these jeans as much as we do, right? That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make you want to buy these jeans, and they need to unify people in order to do that. It doesn't make any sense for them to trying to pit people against each other and make them feel like they need to make them feel like, oh, well, she's wearing those jeans, so I can't wear it because I have brown hair and she has blonde hair. Nobody really thinks like that. Either you like the jeans or you don't. You like the way the jeans look on her or you don't. You like what she said in the ad or you don't. So it's never going to be a moment where, oh, so-and-so is doing this, so I can't do it because I don't look like them. Because right now we know that they make jeans in all sizes. There's jeans for everybody. If you like those jeans, buy them. It doesn't matter who is advertising them, right? What matters is that you overcome your differences and recognize that what unites everyone is wanting to buy American Eagle jeans based off of this ad. So I know that many people may not want to buy American Eagle jeans based on the fact that they think that this is propaganda, but I think they're also missing the actual message because they want to see something else and they want to find some hidden alternative or hidden agenda in what she said. And what she said is very simple and straight to the point. I'll read it to you again. Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, even eye color. My genes are blue. So she never said that you had to have a certain eye color, a certain hair color, or a certain personality. She just said, hey, none of that matters. What matters is that my jeans are blue, you like these jeans, you like this ad enough to go and buy American Eagle jeans, and so on. Okay, so next up I want to talk about the sex appeal in her ad. So Sydney is more covered up, which I really like. She doesn't have her top exposed, but she's really giving off that girl next door and that tomboyish vibe because she's wearing loose jeans, baggy jeans, and then a white tank top. And my mother always said that you should never wear big and big, like a big top and big jeans. You should always wear either a tight top and loose jeans or a loose shirt and more fitted bottoms, right? So I think that everything that she has going on makes sense. And then there's some ads where she has a jacket on, but what I'm really looking at is the jeans because that is what all of this conversation is happening over. And I also want to say that there is a hint of sex appeal in these ads, but it's very subtle and she's suggestive with her words to kind of get you to kind of play into or buy into what she's selling. Obviously, as I mentioned, her top is a little more exposed. Her jeans are a looser fit, so it doesn't really show off her shape as much. She does talk about how her butt looks good in these jeans, and obviously, I think that that's going to be suggestive because right now we're really used to the BBL aesthetic and having big butts and all of that stuff. And obviously, you can see that she does not have a big butt, and also her butt is kind of hidden with these loose jeans. And so, whether or not you think her butt actually looks good is subjective. But I do like the fact that she is not overly using her body, if that makes sense, to sell the jeans. It just really feels like the girl next door talking to you about how much she loved American Eagle jeans. I already mentioned this, but I want to make it extra clear. I really like how everything in these ads that I'm seeing from Sydney Sweeney is contradicting or going against the BBL Fashion Nova aesthetic that we are seeing, which is the slim waist and the big booties and the tight jeans. I really like that we're kind of going back to those boyfriend jeans, loose jeans, baggy jeans, and kind of keeping it cute and feminine still without being sloppy, if that makes sense. So I really like that we're seeing these two different styles at play. The tight jeans, big booty, small waist, and then loose jeans, cute figure, still feminine, and all of that stuff. Okay, so now let's talk about why I'm not really understanding the controversy with having Sydney Sweeney as the face of this American Eagle campaign. So we should all know that Beyonce is doing a campaign for Levi jeans. She is featured in several ads. I've seen a laundromat one, a pool hall one, and then a diner ad. And in the laundromat ad, she basically walks into the laundromat, strips down to her underwear, puts her jeans in the wash, and she's sitting down waiting for her jeans to be done. So what they're trying to tell you here is that she likes these jeans so much, she's willing to wash them, wait for them to dry so that she can put them back on. She doesn't want to wear anything else, right? And so I don't necessarily like these ads from Beyonce. I don't think her body looks good in these ads. It seems like they're overproduced, so they don't really seem natural. She seems robotic, and at times I'm convinced that she had a body double. The pool hall one was okay, but I didn't like her shape either. The slim waist, the big booty, it just looks like it did not look flattering. And then also the diner one I did not like because her hair was supposed to be wet, but it was just stringy looking. I did not think the shorts were flattering. I would not buy those shorts for myself. And so obviously what they're selling here is, hey, Beyonce is wearing this, so you should want to wear this too. I do not want to wear it because Beyonce is wearing it. So what I will say though is that I did like Beyonce's Pepsi ads from back in the day much better. She really seemed like the girl next door. She was personable, she was smiling, she was bright and bubbly, and you really want it to be like Beyonce because of those Pepsi commercials. I'm not really getting that vibe with these commercials from her Levi campaign. Next up, I think it's important to talk about the selling power of ads. So if it's not clear, I do not buy anything because of any one celebrity. If I buy something, it's either because I need the product or I want the product based on some other need that I have, or I want to buy an experience. So there were three purchases that I made in the last 2 or 3 years connected to celebrities, and one was joggers from Dunkin' Donuts, and it was because of a Super Bowl and a commercial that J-Lo and Ben Affleck did. I didn't buy it because of J-Lo or Ben Affleck necessarily. I bought it because one, it was a Super Bowl, and two, I really liked that commercial where Ben Affleck crashed J-Lo's recording session and whatever, acting a fool about his homies and all of that stuff. And I thought it was really funny, and I kept replaying that commercial if I could find it on YouTube. And I really liked just the feelings of the Super Bowl and those really great commercials. So I did buy the joggers. However, I was disappointed with them because they were plasticky and they were also too short. I wasn't really planning on wearing them anywhere, but now I don't really feel comfortable wearing them in my house because they aren't soft cotton like I was expecting. The other two purchases I made were t-shirts, and it was connected to Scandal, which is the Vanderpump Rules scandal, and I bought a Send It to Daryl t-shirt, and then I also bought the one with the mustache t-shirt. And so I was really buying those t-shirts because I wanted to remember Scandal and how big it was. The whole Reddit community came together to talk about it, and then we were all watching because season 11 was airing at that time, so we were all tuning in each week to watch a new episode to see what red flags and signs we could see that would possibly tell us in hindsight, like, hey, an affair is going on between Tom Sandoval and Raquel and all of that stuff. And so that's really why I wanted to buy those three items. But other than that, I really try not to let any one celebrity influence what I buy because a lot of them are advertising and promoting different things. So it's kind of hard to know what's genuine and what's not. And so I really try to focus on whether or not I need the product or does it help me meet another need if I don't need that product directly for something, or if it's something that I want to remember as far as a experience. And I also want to hit home that you can absolutely watch an ad without buying something, but still being kind of programmed to take away a certain message. So one example of that is one kind of example of wanting to watch something but not buy it is I've seen plenty of comments on people's YouTube channels and YouTube videos where someone's like, hey, I don't want to buy X, Y, and Z, but I really wanted to watch your content just to see what you were saying about X, Y, and Z. And I think that is really powerful, that you have people who will like the storytelling or the way that people communicate about certain things, that they are willing to watch a video even though they're not planning to buy that item. I think that is really powerful. And then the second part of that is what messaging is being taken away from the ad or commercial that you are being exposed to. Alrighty, so to wrap up this video, I think it's super important to understand the purpose of ads. They're either trying to sell you something or trying to get you to take away a certain message or influence what you think about X, Y, and Z. So it's super important to know why exactly you're watching an ad. And I think in this case, it should be super clear what we are watching in that one specific ad that Sydney Sweeney did. She's really just talking about how much she loves her American Eagle jean, that to the point where DNA and genetics doesn't matter. We should all be able to unite over this one thing that we love. We should be able to find common ground. We should be looking to find common ground instead of the differences. I don't think this campaign would be any better or any worse if there was a different person, if there was a black person. If Rihanna was doing this commercial, would you have a problem with what she said? Would you have received it differently, and so on? So I don't think it's a matter of the wrong person or the wrong races in this commercial. I don't think it's as deep as saying, hey, this shouldn't have been said. I think what she said is totally fine. Again, let me read it to you. Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, even eye color. My genes are blue. So again, she's saying something that is a direct contradiction to everything that she said before. DNA, your genes don't matter. What matters is that you like this ad for American Eagle and that you want to buy these jeans. And I think that should be the takeaway. Anything else, I think we're just kind of conflating arguments and previous ads that we've seen for jeans. Really, we should be focusing on the things that bring us together, the common ground that we have, instead of always looking for differences. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.